Yo, what's up, guys? This is Gunrocks. I'm an Awakened Tamer on NA, and I would like to share, as requested by some of the Black Desert Online CMs, my feedback for my own class and what I think needs to be done to the class in PvP. So, what do I want on my Tamer? Let's first talk about movement. I think Tamer movement is pretty good, but it has this asymmetry in the quality of its engagement potential versus the quality of its potential for disengaging using those same movement skills. So, what I want first, just to summarize, is for cloud stomping to have no collision on the cloud ride portion. So, when you're in flight, when you're moving, I want a no collision input for Moonlight Strike, which is our major SA dash skill on the ground, currently does have collision. And I want to be able to use Legendary Beast Power, which is our big filler movement that you can camera turn and we use into grab quite a bit. I want to be able to use that off cooldown the same way Rangers use Wind Step off cooldown. So no protection off cooldown, but you can use it. Okay. Lastly, I want a third Awakening Iframe. Right now we have Leaves Dropping. We have Flow Gust, which activates when Leaves Dropping is on cooldown, but you use the same inputs for Leaves Dropping. And I want an additional flow gale, whatever you want to call it, that activates when both of those are on cooldown. Okay, the current behavior would then activate if all three are on cooldown, which is you do a little side hop evasion. Uh, and I think that would be the glue that we need as Tamer to help keep pace with current classes in the current meta, to add that extra bit of setup, because the Iframe is a no collision ghosting through people. So that together with the no collision input of Moonlight Strike, with not having collision on the movement portion of Cloud Ride, so we can stop getting hit stutter dropped out of the sky with it, which is something that happens, which is very frustrating. Uh, I think that would solve a lot of Tamer's issues because her current combo and catch potential is really not that bad. It's just getting to the place that she needs to be effective that is currently difficult. And I think in a lot of the same ways that just being able to get through people with no collision, to disengage with Cloud Ride, and not get kind of dropped out of the sky. Another aspect of it is you really have to plant Beast Rampage very close to the enemy, and it's not a skill that turns with your camera. You have to mouse move it to face the forward guard of this, kind of bread and butter skill that does all of our DPS and awakening, to position it towards the enemy. You got to use mouse movement, and then you have to tap the hotkey input for it if you want that mouse movement to also allow you to complete the last hit, which is half the damage of the skill. So I just think that's unnecessarily awkward to demand that, and I want camera turn to apply to this skill the same way that it applies to all around spinner, where you can just track the movement of the player, spin it all around, and it's going to deal that damage. As well, just move the hitbox forward relative to the character. Right now it hits almost further behind and to the sides than it does in front, and that means weird stuff will happen, like you can down smash people outside the range of your skill and you gotta kind of flip sideways in order to continue to hit them. So yeah, I want that done on Beast Rampage. While we're on the topic of AoE, I think the AoE of all around spinner is quite sad and needs to be buffed. I think the PvP damage reduction is too high and needs to be reduced. I think the range on resonance is probably fair, but maybe a little bit of crit. Some people are asking for like 50%. I think maybe 25% would be good. And then that way, with an add-on running, and especially with Absorb Up, you max it out and it would do more damage than its alternative Horror Slam. A little bit more protection as well in the form of letting us cancel Celestial Slam. So it's okay if you want to leave it unprotected. It does a little more damage when used before Beast Rampage, after a catch if you get that air attack in. However, the animation lock you get caught in almost all the time. So it creates a situation where unless you're completely alone, comboing 1v1 essentially, it's a mistake to use the skill almost every time. And I think that mistake being punishable is okay, but I think it should be punishable while also having a counter reaction be possible through cancels, which is what Tamer is all about. It's the way that all of our other skills function, even more so now with being able to cancel into forward evasion. Garuda. I want this assimilate skill that claims it increases the range of Garuda to actually increase the range of Garuda to some significant degree. Right now, it's about half a character length you get out of this assimilate, especially with the core changes, so that we can now take core legendary beast power without giving up forward guard on beast rampage. You're going to be having this vermilion bird assimilate on your bar quite a bit, and I would really like to be able to try and poke with Garuda at a reasonable range. Because just about everything on Tamer is outranged by everybody else's catches. So having just this one that's kind of on par, where you could try to outplay somebody and actually tag them with this, especially because it tags people with the minus 20 TP debuff before the float actually goes through. So if you're just really quick and cancel out of it, you can actually tap a lot of your enemies with this minus 20 debuff, then iframe away, and then come back in and try and do some damage. So I think that would be a good way to give us something that is counterable because it's unprotected, but increase its effectiveness, especially because it's kind of the weakest one out of all of the effects that are assimilated through this new mechanic. The Roaring CC and the Void Lightning CC. And Surging Tide still kind of works, but it feels less effective to me. So now they've reworked Howling so that it's yet another multi-hit CC trap that doesn't multi-hit CC added to the list. All of that obviously needs to be fixed.